By the end of this video, if you're stuck on the fence as to which one to buy, by the end of this video, you will know exactly which one is the right bike for you. In this video, I'm going to be putting my two favourite bikes head to head. On my right, your left, is the Peloton Bike Plus, and on my left is the brand new X24 from NordicTrack. And if you're thinking about buying one, I'll put a link in the description. That will take you to the relevant website, and that also helps support the channel, which is greatly appreciated. Let's get cracking. Right now, both companies offer two bikes, and these are the premium versions. So this is the Peloton Bike Plus, which is an upgrade from the Peloton Bike, and this is the X24 bike, which is an upgrade from the S24 bike. And they share a lot of the same features across the two bikes, so I want to quickly run through those. And the first one is auto follow. So this means that within a workout, you'll have a range that the instructor wants you to be in. You can adjust that range. You might be at the bottom of the range if you're not very fit or not very eager that day, or the top of the range if you are fitter. And the bike will carry that difficulty through the workout. Next are the drivetrain. So I'm at 60% resistance now on the Peloton. And if I take my mic off. Now, apart from my creaking cycling shoes, you shouldn't be able to hear anything from the drivetrain. They are super silent. So now I'm at the same resistance level on the NordicTrack, and it should sound exactly the same. I'm sorry about my creaking cycling shoes. Going from one to the other, the NordicTrack, like by 1%, so this shouldn't be your buying decision. It's slightly better. I like the Q factor, the distance between the pedals, and it is slightly smoother. But if I wasn't testing them back to back, I wouldn't be able to feel any difference. Peloton has 100 levels of resistance, whereas the NordicTrack has 24. So the step between each level of resistance is greater on the NordicTrack. However, if you're doing, say, zone 2 cardio, and you want to spend 45 minutes or an hour watching Netflix and sticking to a certain resistance level, if you're in between levels on the NordicTrack, you can just adjust the height of the machine, and it simulates going up or down a hill. So if you want to make it very slightly harder, lift the bike up very slightly, and that will make pedaling slightly harder, like it is in the real world. As another step up from their base models, both of these have really good front-facing speakers, and the sound quality on these is excellent. I suspect most people will be wearing headphones though, and they both have the same points of adjustment. So the Peloton bike, the seat will go up and down, and also backwards and forwards, and the handlebars can be raised or lowered, and that's the same for the NordicTrack, up and down for the seat, and backwards and forwards for the seat. iFit, which is the software that runs on NordicTrack bikes, and Peloton's own software. You can have you as the main user plus 4 parasites. I mean, for other users, I know it's going to be, if you're watching this, it's you that's paying, isn't it? And so both machines will take riders from 4'11" up to 6'5", and both screens rotate through 180 degrees. So if you're working off the bike, for instance, you can just spin the screens round, and that's the same on both of them. So let's look at some areas now where the Peloton is better than the NordicTrack bike. And the first one is for Apple users. So Peloton has Apple Watch connection, and you hold your Apple Watch here, and then it should connect. So yeah, I find this fiddly, and I mean, I'm sure it does work, but I find it quite fiddly to use. So this might work on your machine. What I tend to do though is I have a Whoop, and this auto connects, and you can see how quickly that just connected. If you want to connect your NordicTrack to your Apple Watch, then there's several third-party apps you can get in the App Store, or I use this, which is a little device called watchlink.app. And what that does is that just acts like Kofi and Ann, because these don't like speaking to each other, and this makes it all nice and everyone gets along. I would love to see a human version of this for family gatherings. Next is delivery and setup. When you buy a Peloton bike or Peloton Bike Plus, they will bring it to the room in your house of your choice, and then they will build it for you, and it will just look like this the first time you get on it. When you buy a NordicTrack bike, you can either build it yourself, and they just bring it in a box and put it down for you, and you build it, which is my recommendation. Or you can pay for their white glove service, which is an extra, but they will build it for you. Now, although there's an extra to have it built for you, when you kind of price that up bike for bike, they're generally about the same price, so don't let that put you off. Over the years, I've sort of dismantled enough of these now to know maintaining it and looking after yourself is no problem, but building a bike yourself, you will know that bike inside out. Next is the apps. Now I'm going to show you on the television here. So they both have apps on phone and also tablet, etc. However, this is the iFit app. So this is the one that comes with the NordicTrack bike. It's not quite as good and easy to navigate as the Peloton one. So everything is here. Everything is here that you want. I don't think it looks quite as good. Well, let me show you the Peloton app and I'll show you how that's better. So when you log into the Peloton app, it's just slicker. So they haven't updated this app for years, and part of the reason is it's just so good. So you've got everything, all your titles here, all your thumbnails show you what you want to do. So for instance, if I wanted to do some stretching and I wanted to filter that. So I'm going to try and find, so if I want to do foam rolling classes specifically, they are very easy to find. The whole search function on this app is much better than it is on the iFit app. And if I were to give the iFit app a 7 out of 10, I would give this one a 10 out of 10. It is just really good to navigate around. One area where iFit does outshine Peloton though in the app is their workout locations. So most of Peloton's workouts are in a studio setting. The production quality is very good. The music that goes along with it is also excellent. But you might prefer to work out in other locations. For instance, this is a Tabata workout and it's on a beach in Florida. It's kind of feels a bit nicer to me. And here are some other areas which NordicTrack outshines Peloton, sometimes by quite a lot. First is weights. So you get the weights with the bike. They come in the box. With Peloton, these are an extra. Next is pedals. So Peloton come with proprietary pedals with look delta cleats like this. This means you need to buy cycling shoes to use them. And if you buy these from Peloton, they do get quite expensive, especially if there's several of you in your house and you've all got different size feet. If you go for a Peloton, go one size up than your normal shoes on your cycling shoes. With NordicTrack, they come with these pedals. So you get a cage on one side and then you get SPD on the other side. And SPD is more of a universal fitting than look delta. If you're a mountain biker, for instance, you might already have SPD cleats. And that means in your household, and I would recommend clipping in. The reason being is when you push down, it's just like a normal pedal. But what you want to try and do is learn how to pull up on the backstroke. So pushing down, pulling up. And if you clip yourself in, that makes that a lot easier to do. And it's a lot more comfortable than a cage. My advice would be, if you're the main user, the bill payer, we've talked about this, get yourself some clip-in shoes and let everyone else ride in their sneakers, or if you're in the UK, trainers. And as much as Peloton shoes are good, I prefer these. These are Nike Super Reps. We've already heard them creaking. They're about 4 years old. I think I need a new pair. But they're more breathable and they're also more flexible when you're riding in them. And that takes me on to one of my favorite features on NordicTrack bikes, and that's the built-in fan. So I'm just going to quickly start a workout. And you can use it in 3 ways. So either settings 1, 2, and 3. My favorite setting though is auto. And when you put it into auto, that means the faster you pedal, the harder the fan will blow. So here it is on speed 1. And when you've got your headphones in, you can't really hear it over your headphones. Speed 2, speed 3. If I switch it to auto, it should go off because I'm not pedaling. Yeah, it's gone down to the minimum setting. If you want a fan on the Peloton bike, you'll need to buy a clip-on one and it won't have this auto feature, which is really handy. The next thing I want to show you is screen height. So when I'm riding this bike in my normal position, you can see that I'm kind of a little bit more hunched over and I'm looking down at the screen. So the middle of the screen is here, and as much as it's fine, I'm 5'7". So if you're 6 foot tall and you're kind of even more up here and you're trying to get down to look at the screen, you can adjust the angle. I just don't feel like this is an optimal viewing position. And when I'm on the NordicTrack bike, and I've kept the Peloton in shot so you can see the difference, I feel much more like I'm looking at the screen. And also the position on this is just a little bit easier on my neck. I think just the way that the geometry is and just that viewing angle is perfect. So I'm looking at this screen rather than down at the screen. The next way that the NordicTrack trumps the Peloton is with a brand new feature that's coming to the bike, and that's active pulse. So you can wear a heart rate monitor with either bike and it will show you which zone you're in. However, with active pulse, as well as just showing you what zone you're in, the machine will then make adjustments to your resistance. In the case of this bike, it will adjust the resistance and also the angle of the bike just to bring you back down to your heart rate zone or up to your heart rate zone if it's like a Monday and you're not doing very well. So in this case on the treadmill, you can see that the blue circle is where it wants me to be. The white arrow is where I am. As I'm above the training zone, it will decrease the intensity to bring me back back into the training zone. I reached out to NordicTrack because I heard that this feature was coming to the NordicTrack bikes. They've confirmed it and they've told me it's coming very soon. I can't tell you how good this feature is on the treadmills, and it will be on the bikes. It is hands down my favorite feature of any connected fitness device. NordicTrack machines with their software iFit 2.0 also have an AI coach, so you can communicate with this coach by text message, tell it what your goals are, and it will help you reach your goals by building a program for you. And if it's selected some bike rides for you to do, for instance, when you get on your bike, they'll be there waiting for you. If you've got a treadmill as well, when you get on the tread, they'll be there waiting for you. Another win for the NordicTrack is overall cost of ownership. So generally they're about the same price. Quite often the NordicTrack's slightly cheaper, but let's assume for this part of the video they're both about the same price. But when you look at owning them for several years, that's where they start to diverge. So the Peloton membership is $44 a month, and the NordicTrack membership iFit 2.0, the Pro version, is $39 a month. So again, very similar in price. However, the difference being, in my experience, is you pay for your Peloton subscription monthly, and it's always been the same. I'm in the UK, so it was £39 5 years ago when I started riding Pelotons, and it's still £39 every single month. With a NordicTrack membership, you can pay for it monthly, or you can make bigger savings by going annually. So in the UK, for instance, it's £34 a month for a NordicTrack membership for iFit 2.0. In their last sale, I switched from paying monthly to paying annually. In fact, I bought a 2-year membership, and instead of paying £34 a month, it worked out to be the equivalent of £17 a month. So £17 a month for this, or £39 a month for this. In my case, over the course of a few years, it's over double. It's like 2.5 times the membership cost for me on my Peloton subscription than it is on my NordicTrack subscription. Looking at NordicTrack sales for annual memberships at the moment, you can see if you buy annually, 2 yearly, or 3 yearly, it really starts to bring the cost of that membership down, meaning that over the course of say 3 or 5 years, this can be significantly cheaper if you're able to switch from monthly billing to annual or 2 or 3 year billing for your membership. Another thing that isn't considered enough is cost of expansion. And by that I mean, if you buy a connected fitness bike like this one with the iFit software, you may end up wanting a treadmill or a row as well. I know you're thinking a bike will do me for now, but trust me, you will want more equipment. So with NordicTrack and Peloton, they've both got 2 bikes on sale. So you've got the choice of their cheaper bike and the ones I have here, they're more expensive bikes. But you haven't got the volume of equipment with Peloton that you have with NordicTrack. So Peloton have 2 bikes, they have a choice of 2 treadmills, and they have 1 rower. If you're outside of the US like I am, I've got the choice of only 2 bikes and only 1 treadmill. And as for the Peloton Row, I've never used one. It didn't make it to the UK along with their more premium treadmill version. So if you're in the US, you've got access to everything that Peloton sell. If you're outside of the US, you might only have access, like we do, to 60% of their products or even less. With NordicTrack, if I go on their website today, there's a choice of 6 different treadmills at 6 different price points that I can pair with this bike, and also 3 row machines if I wanted to pair them with this bike. Every time you expand your collection of equipment, you won't need any more membership, and it's the same for Peloton. 1 membership will cover all of your devices. So the software on both, so both of these have got excellent software. This is the latest tablet from Peloton. I'll show you the NordicTrack in a moment. You can see it's not that smooth, but it is good. When you're actually in a workout, I mean, it doesn't matter, it's excellent. And when you open a workout, it looks like this. Where Peloton do really well is with the studio classes. So hands down. Whoa. Oh, I've turned it down. So here you have your leaderboard. So there's other people in the class that are here now. If you click on all time, you can see that everyone that's ever done this workout is here. So 42,000. And you can see how you perform when you're riding compared to everyone else. My Whoop is connected. So I've got my heart rate monitor there, so I can see my heart rate zones. And then you've also got good data down the bottom. You've got speed, distance, cadence, my output, also the resistance, and my total output and calories. If I want to, I can start moving this away, so I can take all of this this off if I just wanted it to be me and the instructor, for instance. And you can see the class in the background here. And this is the format for Peloton's workouts. You have a really good, high quality instructor. They are very, very good at this, hands down the best at this type of workout. And then sometimes you'll get an audience in the background as well, which you can just about see in the shadows here. Peloton do have live classes. So in 50 minutes, there's a live 20-minute low impact ride starting if you wanted to do that. And you've got your kind of recommended workout based on the classes that you've taken before. You've also got collections. So Jess King is a fantastic instructor, very quirky, very interesting, and makes working out a lot of fun. You can see. So with the Jess King experience, these are kind of more out there rides and they are really fun to do. Coming down here, you've got the most popular rides right now, quick workouts if you're short on time. And this is something that NordicTrack doesn't have as much of, and they are specifically timed rides. So if I was to filter and I just wanted 20-minute rides, it would bring up all their 20-minute rides, whereas NordicTrack rides are kind of just like the length they need to be. Under the entertainment tab, you can read a Kindle while you're doing a manual workout. You've also got NBA, Disney Plus, and Netflix, and that means you can have something playing on Netflix while working at the same time. Really good for more long form, low intensity workouts, and it's excellent. It's as good as you can see it here. It works very, very well. If we take a look at iFit 2.0, you can see my stats here, and these are the recommended rides it's saying I should take. And you can see immediately here, and I'll talk about this more in a moment, these are outdoor fitness rides. So rather than being constrained to a studio, I could ride in Costa Rica, I could ride in Chile, Mallorca. There's lots of places, as you can see. You've also got some series here as well, some programs. In addition to that, the latest featured workouts. So this is a mixture of on and off the bike workouts. Series that I might like. So yeah, I fancy the Swiss one. I do fancy that one as well. And then you can just click on these and then you can just join the series. I've already joined this one. Feature I really like is you can create a custom workout. So you've got some templates here, for instance. So this is a progressive hill climb. You've got various ones already programmed in. But if you wanted to create your own workout, you can add sections here. So you can put in here, I want 5 minutes at 20 resistance on a 10 incline. The next one might be slightly different. And then you can add them up, save the workout, and it's there every time you want to use it. You can name it as well. Another feature which I don't use but lots of people swear by, if you're training for say a race, for instance, where are we here? So we are, I don't even know who this is. We could put in a start location. We can say that we then want to go to there. We're probably going to end up here and then we're going to go back to here. And this will build a ride for me. You can see here, it'll be a 20-hour ride. And as you start the ride, it will show pictures here of the locations. And if it goes uphill, the bike will rise. And if it's downhill, the bike will go down. So if you're training for an event anywhere in the world, this is a really good feature. NordicTrack also have great apps. So you've got Audible, Netflix, Prime Video, Spotify, and you can add more. So if I wanted to add Apple Music or Pluto or iHeartRadio, I can install these on the machines. And when in a NordicTrack workout, you've got two soundtracks. Let me show you this. So this is a Mallorca ride, and with the audio, so it's going downhill. So the screen just tilted because the bike's tilted because it's riding downhill. And you've got different soundtracks. So let me just turn the volume down on that. So this is on the radio stations that come with the bike. So in the UK, you get 4 stations. In the US, you get 11, and they're 2 separate soundtracks. The reason why that's important is I can have Feed FM off, just the trainer on, and I can go to apps. And what this means is I can have, for instance, Spotify playing in the background and have my own music playing on this ride. So with Peloton, the soundtrack and the instructor are built into the workout. And what this does mean is that you could have a tempo ride that's in tune to the music, in tempo with the music. So if you had a high intensity rock ride, you would be cycling in time to the music, and it does really add to the experience in a class-based workout. You can't do this with iFit 2.0, and this is a feature that I do miss on this one. However, I much prefer the fact that I can either have a choice of stations on my ride, or I can put an audiobook on if that interests me more that day, or Spotify, and just pick the exact songs or the exact playlist that I want to listen to. And this leads me into what I think should be the deciding factor for most people. Now, we've seen that the NordicTrack is more feature rich, but it comes down to content. And I would base a lot of your buying decision on this. So when it comes to Peloton, these are hands down the best at this. These high energy, you do get low energy rides, but these high energy, motivating class workouts. They have exactly the right instructors on here for this format. Other people have tried to kind of match them or replicate them over the years. They've always been the best at this, and in my opinion, they still are the best at this. You can get class rides on the NordicTrack. They're not as good as Pelotons. They are fine if you want to do that occasionally, but if your main motivation is this class-based workout, then Peloton are, superb. They can't be touched at this format of ride. They're excellent. Where NordicTrack shines though, and is the reason why after 400 Peloton rides, I sold my Pelotons and went to NordicTrack. I even went to London and met this lady who's very nice, Hannah Frankson, my favorite UK instructor, but I knew then I was done. And since then I've had 400 NordicTrack rides, and I like them now as much as I did on the first ride. And that's because you go to all these fantastic locations. It's a fitness-led workout. I mean, this looks so much better than this, in my opinion. And in addition to that, when the instructor goes down a hill, the bike will pitch forward. When the instructor goes up a hill, the bike will pitch up, and the intensity will change like it would do when you're out on a normal bike. So if you want the best outdoor immersive trainer-led workouts, then you should get the NordicTrack because they are superb at this. There are a few on the Peloton, but they're not that inspiring. And where Peloton really shine with this format, NordicTrack with the iFit 2.0 software really shine with this format. And this should really be the biggest part of your buying decision. And in conclusion, a couple of years ago, when I compared the Peloton Bike Plus to the previous version of this bike, which was the S22i, I thought the S22i was a better bike, but like a really close fight, you know when you watch a close boxing match, at the end, you'd accept it going either way. But since then, NordicTrack have active pulse coming to these machines. The cost of ownership over several years is also less for this machine, and iFit upgraded their software to iFit 2.0, which in my opinion is probably the best software I've used on any connected fitness machine as well. The X24 also has the latest tablet from NordicTrack, which is superb. And if you look at NordicTrack's range and go all the way up to their most expensive treadmill with its 24-inch screen, this is a $4,000 treadmill. It has the same tablet as this bike. As I've mentioned, I'll link to both bikes in the description. If you're thinking of buying, please use my link. It really helps support the channel. If you want to see my full review of this bike, then click on this link here. And if you want to see my latest review of this bike, the Peloton Bike Plus, then click here. I hope you found this video useful. I've really enjoyed making it. And until next time, see you soon.